My name's Cody, and I'm a park ranger. Some people tend to ask me why when they learn that I'm a Harvard graduate. Even my friends from school look down on me because they're all in expensive suits, working at some of the world's most important firms and institutions. And here I am, living in a log cabin in the middle of nowhere. I don't know what to tell you. I love doing what I do. I'm happy where I am. I could never see myself working in an office all my life, sucking up to people I don't respect. Half the time when my buddies and I hang out, all they do is complain about their job and their bosses. They can barely tear their eyes off their phones, and they're always checking or replying to their emails. I don't think I'd trade being a ranger for anything. The first snow of the season was falling the night I heard a cry just down the road from my cabin. I ran and heard snarling. The sobbing was getting closer, too. I recognized the telltale sign of wolves, and I ducked and approached slowly. Wolves, that close to my cabin, I remember thinking. That's never happened before. What would make them so bold as to come this close to a heavy traffic area? The girl was shuddering. She was paralyzed in fear. Who wouldn't be surrounded by a pack of fully grown, snarling wolves? I inched closer, and I calmly spoke to her as not to spook her or the wolves. Don't move. No sudden movements. And definitely don't run.
Please help me. I didn't know. I was just trying to get away from it all. I'm sorry. Please don't let them eat me.
Do exactly as I say. Lower your head and bow slightly. Do not show them your teeth, and whenever you do, do not make eye contact. It seemed to work at first. The wolves began to relax a bit, but the pack leader, a huge, hulking beast of a female, snarled even louder. She must have been the mother, and I realized the other wolves are still juveniles. They were large, but they were definitely still young. The girl must have disturbed their den, and the mom's just trying to protect her family. The mom snarled again, and this time the wolves circled closer. The girl began to tremble. Do not even think about fainting right now. If you fall, they will attack you. I widened my stance, made myself as big as I could. If submission was not an option, all I could do at that point was to scare them away. I made as much noise as I could, and the girl joined in. But despite our best efforts, the wolves attacked. They howled, and the young ones jumped toward us and then backed away, toying with us. I took a branch from the forest floor, tore a piece of my shirt off, wrapped it around the branch, and doused it in lighter fluid that I got from my lighter. I set it alight and swung the flaming torch around. It kept the wolves at bay, but then the mom snarled and lunged at me. When the mom retreated, so did her pups, and I sunk down into the snow, grateful that we both survived the attack. I took the girl in after she said she was lost, and that she didn't know where she lived. She begged me not to take her to the cops for help. She acted strange and had a strong accent I couldn't place. But the worst of it was that she was useless around the house. She didn't know how to even do the simplest of chores. I taught her how to sweep, but it was like teaching a child. One day, while I was chopping wood and she was shoveling snow so badly that the snow ended up mostly inside the cabin, I got so frustrated, I yelled at her. And then she started sobbing uncontrollably. Fine, that's enough for now. Let's take a break. I felt bad for screaming at her, so I took her to my favorite place in the park. She must be stressed or scared. She must miss her family. Sometimes I forget that she's going through a lot. The lake was frozen over, but it was still beautiful. When Cece saw the hut where the holiday makers usually rent gear, her eyes lit up.
I love skating. Let's go.
She laced me up, and before I could make it up on my feet, she was already speeding on the ice. She began to dance to the music of the gentle breeze, and it was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen. Graceful and yet powerful. She jumped and twirled and made huge arcs over the ice. And then she came over to me, her cheeks flushed and a grin on her face.
Come, I teach you.
I took a couple steps. I glided, and I felt so proud of myself. I thought I could do it until I slipped. And then Cece fell on top of me. Her nose was touching mine. Her breath was on my skin. I saw the pink on her cheeks turn bright red, and she pushed off of me and skated away. Suddenly, I was in love. But that happiness did not last long. Someone was walking down the side of the hill towards us, waving. It was a buddy from school, Aster. Yeah, no, I kid you not, that really is his name. Anyway, Aster came to visit, and things went awry when he saw Cece dancing on the ice.
Cece?
What? You know her?
What do you mean, do I know her? That's my fiancée. Cece, we've been so worried.
Cece took one look at Aster, and her face became mired in fear. She skated away, ditched her skates, and began running towards the house.
What is my fiancée doing here, you pathetic little nobody? What's she doing here with you?
Why don't you ask yourself why she ran away from you, Beetle Eyes?
That girl is my ticket to the top, Cody. You have no idea what you're messing with. She is the heir to a massive fortune. And no matter what, I'm gonna get my hands on that money. So you better stay away from her.
Aster disappeared up the hill. He stormed my house and started trashing the place in search of Cece. But when he didn't find her, he went away again. I found Cece hiding behind the firewood in the shed. She was trembling. I hugged her and comforted her. And then she told me what was happening. She didn't want to get married to Aster. Her parents brought her here pretending they were going to be on holiday. Instead, it was a trap to get her engaged. Cece despised Aster so much she ran away from her controlling parents and got lost in the woods.
They will find us. We escape.
I didn't realize she meant it immediately. Her parents came in the night, and they had a lot of men with them. I packed whatever I could, and we took off before they could break down the door. There was a tunnel hidden under my cabin, and we used that to escape. We stayed in one of my camps, and I had a bunker in the middle of the woods, and it was stocked for emergencies just like this. But we had to run back into town in case they found the tunnel. When we got there, we took shelter in a chapel, and Cece had a ridiculous idea.
We have to get married. It's the only way.
And no matter how out there it was, maybe she was right. I was reluctant, but deep inside, I knew I wanted to be with her. I just didn't know it was going to be that soon. At first light, we got married, and then she told me that her parents' fortune had a stipulation. The moment Cece got married, all their riches transferred to her. It was her parents' own insistence on her getting married that Cece ultimately used against them. Instead of marrying someone they wanted, she not only defied them, but now she also owns all their assets. We calmly walked back to the cabin where Aster and Cece's parents were waiting. As soon as they saw us, Cece flashed her wedding ring. It took 5 whole seconds for Aster to realize what that meant. And then he ran towards me, his hand balled up in a fist. And when he got close enough, he brought his fist down for a strike.
You dumb, thieving pleb! How dare you! You can't do this to me!
I twisted Aster's arm, and he fell on the snow, doubled up in pain. Guards! And like robots, the men Cece's parents commanded turned and saluted me. I believe, effective today, you work for my wife, and therefore, for me. Take this man away.
No, man, you don't understand! I'm broke. I owe my boss so much money. I couldn't keep up with our friends, so I had to do whatever I could to keep up appearances. I need this money. Cody, please! I'll be in ruins!
And whose fault is that? Cece's family had no choice. All their possessions passed to their daughter, and they had to leave her alone. She demanded they go back to their country. And when they refused, she threatened to report all their shady dealings that led to their being so rich. That made them turn tails and run. My wedding to Cece was not only the realization of our love story, it was also the thing that freed her from the evil people in her life. Now she has everything she wants, and I've become the richest among my snobby friends. Cece and I bought the whole park, and now I live in my dream job with my dream wife, taking care of animals and teaching visitors about nature.